Everyone remembers the same cars, the same engines, the same stories told so many times they stopped feeling like history and started feeling like mythology. The Chevelle SS, the Hemi Cuda, the Boss 302. These machines own the posters, the auction records, and the collective memory of an entire generation. They deserve the recognition, that part is not in dispute. But the muscle car era was not a clean, curated list of 10 approved legends. It was a chaotic, competitive, often politically messy period where dozens of machines fought for the same road, the same buyer, and the same quarter mile. Most of them never made it into the history books. Not because they were slow, not because they were poorly built, but because the industry ran out of time. The marketing budgets collapsed, and the spotlight was already pointing somewhere else. What got left behind was not mediocrity. It was machines that could embarrass the legends on a straightaway and still get ignored at a car show 40 years later. Some carried the wrong badge. Some arrived 12 months too late. Some were buried by the very companies that built them. This is not a list of consolation prizes. This is the part of the muscle car era that the familiar version of history forgot to include. And it is more interesting than the version most people know. The first car on this list rarely got built at all. Buick was not supposed to be in this conversation. It was a brand for professionals, for cautious buyers, for people who wanted comfort over confrontation. The dealerships smelled like carpet cleaner and quiet ambition. Nobody walked into a Buick showroom looking for something dangerous. In 1970, that changed without warning. The Buick GSX arrived wearing Stage 1 badging and carrying a 455 cubic inch engine that the factory officially rated at 360 horsepower. That number was fiction. Independent testers who put the car through proper evaluation came back with results that suggested the real output was considerably higher. Buick had learned what every performance division learned during that era. Honesty about horsepower made insurance companies nervous, and nervous insurance companies made buyers disappear. So they underreported it, and then they let the car do the talking. The GSX ran quarter-mile times that made Pontiac GTO owners reconsider their choices. It came with a hood-mounted tachometer, a rear spoiler, and a visual aggression that had no business existing on a Buick. The whole car felt like an internal contradiction. Only 678 Stage 1 models were built in 1970. The people who bought them knew exactly what they had purchased. Everyone else assumed it was just another Buick wearing a costume. That assumption was one of the most expensive mistakes a muscle car buyer could make that year. AMC was the brand everyone dismissed before the conversation even started. It was too small, too underfunded, and too far outside the cultural orbit of the Big Three to be taken seriously. Enthusiasts had already written the ending before AMC had a chance to perform. That prejudgment cost a lot of people the opportunity to own something genuinely extraordinary. The Rebel machine arrived in 1970 looking like a provocation. The red, white, and blue paint scheme was not subtle. The functional hood scoop was not decorative. And the 390 cubic inch engine underneath was not interested in being polite about what it could do in a straight line. Mid-14-second quarter-mile times put it directly alongside cars from brands with 10 times the marketing budget and twice the cultural credibility. Road testers who expected to be underwhelmed, AMC priced it aggressively, built it in limited numbers, and let the performance carry the argument without interference from a marketing department that could not have afforded interference anyway. It worked. The car earned respect from the people who actually drove it. But AMC was not finished making its point. Across the same lineup sat a two-seat machine with a shorter wheelbase, a sharper attitude, and a racing program that had absolutely no business succeeding at the level it did. The AMX was just getting started. The AMC AMX was built on a platform nobody outside of AMC took seriously. That was their first mistake. 2 seats, short wheelbase. A weight distribution that European sports car engineers quietly respected, while publicly saying nothing. The AMX was not supposed to belong in serious performance conversations. AMC was not supposed to belong in serious performance conversations. But then Mark Donohue took the Javelin, the AMX's longer sibling, into Trans Am competition against factory-backed Mustangs, Camaros, and Challengers, with engineering budgets that dwarfed anything AMC could assemble. The results embarrassed manufacturers who had arrived expecting an easy victory. That racing credibility filtered back into the street cars. The AMX carried it quietly. Then the Oldsmobile 442 W30 entered the picture and complicated everything further. Oldsmobile was not supposed to be dangerous either. It was a stepping stone brand, the place buyers landed between Pontiac ambition and Buick respectability. The engineering division had other ideas. The W30 package brought cold air induction, low restriction exhaust, and a factory horsepower rating that almost nobody in the industry believed was accurate. The real numbers were higher. Oldsmobile knew it. The insurance actuaries suspected it. The buyers who ran it against Chevelles and GTOs confirmed it. The W30 won those comparisons regularly. It did so without drama, without fanfare, and without the cultural machinery that turned other machines into legends. It simply performed, and then history looked the other way. But the erasure did not stop there. Ford had a problem that most manufacturers would have welcomed. They had built too many interesting cars at the same time. The Mustang consumed everything. Marketing resources, internal enthusiasm, executive attention, and press coverage all flowed toward one nameplate, while everything else in the Ford performance stable fought for whatever remained. In that environment, genuinely serious machines got neglected. Not because they failed, but because the organizational spotlight simply never reached them. The Mercury Cyclone Spoiler was one of those machines. It arrived in 1969 carrying direct NASCAR lineage, and that engineering work transferred into what dealers were offering on showroom floors. The Cyclone Spoiler ran against the Dodge Charger Daytona and Plymouth Superbird in period tests, and held its position without apology. Those Mopars became legends. The difference was not performance, the difference was narrative. Dodge and Plymouth committed to the story. Ford committed to the Mustang instead.